Hi, my dear students. Good morning to all. Let's begin our today's class with a silent prayer. Once again, good morning to all, and I hope that you all are keeping fine. I request you to take care of your health during this pandemic so that we will be out of this pandemic. And also, I request you to pray for the people who are affected by this COVID-19, that the good Lord may bless them and heal them from all their sickness and bring them back to their good health. Okay, during this pandemic, we are out of danger because God has protected us in a way that we did not get this sickness. So let's pray for the people who are affected by it. Okay. So let's come back to the lesson, Oliver finds a home. Dear students, in the last session we saw the section 1 where we found Oliver is getting treated by Dr. Losburn and been taken care of by Mrs. Maylie, Miss Rose and Mr. Giles. And in the second section we are going to see that Oliver is getting out of the danger and he is coming back to his normal health. And also he is explaining how he was suffering in the orphanage and how he had been caught by these thieves and came for the robbery. So hearing his story, they were feeling bad, and Mrs. Maylie has decided now to keep him in their house, and they are taking care of him very well, and he is experiencing the joy and happiness for the first time. Okay, because in the previously he was staying in an orphanage where he did not get proper care and things like that. And at the end of section 1 we saw Miss Rose is crying, even Mrs. Maylie is feeling very sad seeing the situation of Oliver. Now we are going to see section 2, that how they are feeling. Let's listen to the lesson. I request all of you to take your textbooks. Section 2. In the next room, Miss Rose continued. Think how young he is. Perhaps he has never known a mother's care. Perhaps he has never had a home. Poor boy. Oh, auntie, don't let them send this boy to prison. So Miss Rose is feeling very sad seeing the situation of Oliver, and she is requesting Mrs. Maylie not to send him to prison because already he came to the robbery to their house, and now she is requesting her not to send him to prison. My dear, said the old lady. Here the old lady is Mrs. Maylie. Do you think that I would harm one hair of his head? Okay, here would harm one hair of his head is a phrase. Phrase means it is a group of words which makes some sense. Okay, not a complete sense but some sense, which means here would harm one hair of his head, which means injury to him. Okay, that means she is not going to harm him in any way. Okay, because she knows how to treat him. I haven't much longer to live, she is saying. She is feeling that she is becoming old and there are no many days to live in. I must help all I can. What can I do to help this boy, Dr. Losburn? So Mrs. Maylie is asking Mrs. Losburn, how can I help this little boy from his danger situation? Let me think, said the kind-hearted doctor. For some moments, he looked thoughtful. Then he asked, can we trust the servants to say nothing about the boy? Yes, Mrs. Maylie told him. They will do as I tell them. Okay, so in order to save him from the police, she is asking Dr. Losburn how can she help him. So Dr. Losburn is thinking for some time and asked Mrs. Maylie whether can we have a trust and confidence in your servants. So Mrs. Maylie said, of course I can. We can have trust because they will tell only what I tell them. Okay, so when the police comes, they may ask questions. So for all this, they have to say something which is not true maybe, in order to save this little boy. Good, said the doctor. But first of all, let's hear what the boy has to say when he wakes up. If we find him innocent, we will help him. But if we find that he is guilty, then we must hand him over to the police. Do you agree? Okay, so they are waiting to see Oliver is getting out of his conscious. Okay, so he has to come to his normal stage in order to know what is really happening, what had happened really, and how he got hold in this robbery group. Okay, so if he is innocent, we will save him, of course. Otherwise, we will hand him over to the prison. And the two ladies agreed to him that they will do as he tells them. The two ladies readily agreed, for they were sure that Oliver was innocent. Oliver slept on for many hours. In the evening, when he woke up, he was very weak, but he was anxious to tell his story. The ladies wept as they heard of his miserable life. The doctor tried hard to hide his tears. Okay, so now Oliver came to his normal stage, not fully, but somewhat. But still, in that stage, he was anxious too. He was eager to tell his story, what his past was. And hearing his story, they were feeling very bad, and even Dr. Losburn was in tears for some time. They did their best to comfort the boy. Oliver slept that night with a smile on his lips. He had found a home. Okay, so after so many years, maybe, okay, now he is at the age of 10 or 11, and now this is the first time, after this long years, this is the first time that he is sleeping peacefully, because he found a home in Mrs. Maylie's house. So he slept so peacefully, a smile on his lips. When the police came to ask questions, Mr. Giles and Brittles were ready with their story. Okay, already doctor had given them proper training, what to tell, how to tell, and things like that. So now police came and they were questioning them, and Mr. Giles, he was a servant of the house, and Mr. Brittle was the man who was looking after the estate of Mrs. Maylie. So the police had asked them so many questions now. Oliver had accidentally wounded himself while playing with a gun. He had nothing to do with the robbery. The housebreakers were two evil-looking men. The servants, with the help of Dr. Losburn, told their story well. The police believed them, and Oliver was left in peace. Okay, so Mr. Giles and Mr. Brittles were very clever to tell the story according to the narration of Dr. Losburn. So because of that, the police believed the story. Because of that, Oliver was left in peace in Mrs. Maylie's house. Oliver found love and kindness. Okay, in Mrs. Maylie's house, Oliver found real love and kindness from them. Indeed, Mrs. Maylie and Rose loved the boy. So did Dr. Losburn. At the beginning of spring, the Maylies took Oliver to their house in the country. There, the fruit trees were in blossom. So the fruit trees were flowering, and during the springtime they went to their native land, and Oliver found there the fruit trees and things like that, and the fruit trees were flowering to have new fruits in the trees. Okay, so Oliver was really enjoying his life with Mrs. Maylie and Miss Rose. At the beginning of spring, the Maylies took Oliver to their house in the country. There the fruit trees were in blossom. The garden and the fields were full of flowers. And how the birds sang. Oliver had never known such peace and such happiness. Okay, in his past years, he never experienced such kind of peace and happiness in his life, where he found now. Okay, so really he's enjoying his life with Mrs. Maylie and Miss Rose. They were really taking care of him in a very nice way as their own child. Okay, every morning Oliver went to an old gentleman who taught him to read and to write. He went for walks with Rose and Mrs. Maylie. In the evening, they sat together and talked, or Rose read aloud to them. Often Rose played the piano and sang. Old Mrs. Maylie loved to listen to this. So did Oliver. Every night he slept peacefully in a clean bed in his own room. 3 months passed by. They were months of perfect happiness for Oliver Twist. Okay, now he has his own room there and where he's really enjoying a peaceful sleep and peaceful stay in Mrs. Maylie's house. And really he was enjoying his life there. And 3 months passed by, how he didn't know, because he was living so peacefully. They were months of perfect happiness for Oliver Twist. Okay, so he lived very peacefully in Mrs. Maylie's house and they were very good to take care of him as their own child. Okay, so Oliver really forgot about his past, that he was an orphan or something, because he felt that he has so many people around him in Mrs. Maylie's house and he lived very peacefully after that. Okay. Okay, dear students, we have completed our lesson Oliver Finds a Home, and now we have our textbook exercises. Okay, so I request all of you to open your textbook of page number 9. Okay, where we find the exercise starting with read and understand. Read section 1. Find the sentences which tell you that. First question is, something quite terrible happened. Okay, this is a phrase. As I told you, what is a phrase? Phrase is a group of words which do not make complete sense, but it has some meaning in it. So the first one is, something quite terrible happened. So what would be the answer? The answer of that phrase is, my dear Mrs. Maylie, my dear Miss Rose, what a terrible shock for you. Okay, that means something quite terrible happened. What does it mean from the lesson? So that is the words that is being used by Dr. Losburn to Mrs. Maylie and Miss Rose. Answer is, my dear Mrs. Maylie, my dear Miss Rose, what a terrible shock for you. The second question, the patient was very ill. So which is the sentence that means? That means the next sentence. Oh please, Dr. Losburn, will you come upstairs and look at the poor creature? Okay, that he is very sick. Okay, the patient was very ill. Because of that, they are calling the doctor to the upstairs to look after him. The third one, the people in the house thought the patient was a thief. That means he had been caught from the robbery group. Okay. So that answer is here in page number 7. Have you seen this thief? Okay. So they are telling him that they felt that he is a thief. Fourth one, the ladies of the house had not seen the thief. The fourth one, answer is in the same page, page number 7. The two ladies looked. To their astonishment, they saw a child there fast asleep. Fifth one, the ladies doubted whether the patient was a thief, which means in the same page number 7, last paragraph for the first session. What can this mean? Mrs. Maylie asked. This poor child is no thief. He is so young, Rose said with tears in her eyes. So that is the fifth answer. So I request all of you to find this and write in the notebook. And also we have read section 2 in pairs. Anyway, since this pandemic, we cannot come to class and have some group discussion. So we will have it alone. Section 2. Discuss with your partner what did each of these people do to save Oliver. What is their responsibility? What is their part in taking care of Oliver? So they have given Dr. Losburn, Mrs. Maylie, Miss Rose and Mr. Giles how they took care of him. I would give you that answer and I will write and send to you in a WhatsApp. Okay. Then submitter. Exercise number C. Number the boxes 1 to 5 in the sequence in which the events take place in the story. I request all of you to read the textbook and find the answer. Okay. And write it according. It has given in a jumbled order and we have to make it into in an order. Okay. So first one I'll tell for you. The first sentence would be the doctor comes to see Oliver. Okay. Next we have 4 more sentences. So write accordingly. Okay. According to the lesson order, you have to mark it in the rounds they have given. Then worksheet D, tick the correct answers. Mrs. Maylie and Rose were surprised when they saw the thief because he was. They have given us 3 options. Just a child, badly injured, smiling in his sleep. Okay, that we see that he was just a child. Okay, answer is he was just a child. Second one, Dr. Losburn had come to have dinner with the ladies, question the servants, treat the injured boy. Okay, so he came to treat the injured boy. Okay, injured boy is Oliver. So the doctor came to Mrs. Maylie's house to treat the boy. The 2 ladies decided to keep Oliver with them because they wanted to give him a happy life, wanted to put him in a school, felt that he was mischievous. Okay, the answer is, of course, we know that they wanted to take care of him. Okay, so the answer is wanted to give him a happy life. Kindly mark in your textbook. From next questions onwards, I will write and I will send you in the WhatsApp there notes, and I request all of you to write the answers in your notebook and study well. Okay, don't be lazy. We have to work hard and learn the things that the teachers give you. Okay, so I request all of you to work hard and study well. Okay, be good children and learn the lessons well.